Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Gone Rogue. And in this episode of Gone Rogue, I am going to talk about doing things with a purpose. That is right, in this episode of Gone Rogue, I am going to talk about doing things with a purpose. So what is making me talk about this on this episode of Gone Rogue is that sometimes we get ahead of ourselves, or we normalize the things that we do for ourselves and just go with the flow and forget the purpose. That type of mindset gets so old that it loses its purpose, and sometimes we don't catch ourselves doing that, and we need to find a way to address these type of problems that we face, whether it's something in life that you made a decision to do or to not to do, or whether it's creating something like a project, or trying to understand what's the idea of what you're doing things. And the purpose of this episode of Gone Rogue is just to sit back and try to adjust ourselves, because sometimes, and just recently, just caught myself of doing this, and I just want to share it with you. And sometimes we forget on what we are here doing. Sometimes we need to ask ourselves, what is the purpose of this? What is the purpose of what I'm doing? Every day we have to ask ourselves that question that I just spoke. We have to ask ourselves, what are we doing? What is the purpose of doing this in the way we think? Because the last thing that you want to do is to do the same thing over and over again. Doing the same thing over and over again. And not think about if the message or the communication or the purpose is effective, what it could be effective, if that makes any sense. It's not about just things in life, or whether if you're doing homework, or if you're doing something, that you're creating something, or if you're making a video. I know the purpose of me talking about this is just to remind myself to not do, and also share this to the world. Hopefully you find this helpful. But going back to what I'm saying is, sometimes we lose ourselves and forget the purpose, and we need to find ourselves and get that mindset back to the way it is before. Because, like I said, the last thing that you want to do is just create something and you lose yourself and and lose the purpose of doing it just to do it. That's the last thing that you want to do. You just do things just to do it and forget what the purpose of this thing. We have to take a moment here and take a deep breath and really ask ourselves, why are we doing this? And I've caught myself doing this, not asking myself, what is this? What is this poster supposed to do? And this is part of a creative process, or any process is that that needs have more thought and critical thinking into it. And let's just not use this example. Let's just use an example in basketball. For example, you're just a role player. There are role players and there are players that makes a difference. Whether we're not talking about the starting five. We're talking about bench players. There are bench players that make a huge difference. That's why it's called there's this award called Sixth Man of the Year award. And there's role players to that just do what they're told being to do. You want to try to be the sixth man of the year. And I've seen role players just shoot a three just to shoot a three. You're like, there's no purpose. There's no why. Excuse me here, since I have a dry throat. Back to what I say. Sometimes you watch a basketball game and you're thinking to yourself, why is this player just shooting a three for no reason? And we have to analyze that player's mindset instead of looking at it at what it is. And that player needs to ask himself, why are we shooting three? Just to shoot a three, or just to get ahead of the game, or just to meet a quota from a coaching perspective, or is it part of the play? For example, the Los Angeles Lakers start off one of the worst starts in Laker franchise history, and they went like 2 out of 10 games. They only won 2 of their first 10 games. And the first 10 games, I've seen Lakers shooting threes just to shoot a three. There's no purpose behind it. But the next 10 games after that, they found a purpose and they started playing better basketball. If we can analyze what changes that they made, that is the process of finding a purpose of why you need to shoot a three or why you can't shoot threes. Same thing in life, same thing in whether you're a artist, same thing if you're a music producer or like doing some type of assignment or writing a book. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? And we lose ourselves of not trying to understand their purpose. So yeah, that's probably what I want to share for this episode of Gone Rogue. And last thing that you want to do before I end this is that last thing that you want to do is just doing things that you're being told to do. Never ever find yourself doing that. But with that being said, hopefully you find this episode of Gone Rogue useful, informative, effective with a purpose. If you really find it helpful, please give this video a huge thumbs up. Comment in the comment section below on what you think about what I said. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Be sure to get my other YouTube content that is on this channel. And thank you for watching Gone Rogue. And ultimately, see you on the next one.